All right, guys, let's switch gears here. Another week one game with Florida A&M University and UNC, and there was a lot of drama leading up to the game, but we'll start with what actually happened on the field. The Rattlers were 44.5 dogs coming into this game before they eventually took the game off the books, but they were only down 11 at the end of the third quarter, and all of this despite being down 20 players, including Buck Buchanan Award winner Isaiah Land. Now, to lose that many players to ineligibility on the eve of the season opener, first off, how the heck does that happen? Carl, you were very outspoken on Twitter about this over the weekend, so explain, why should we not be surprised given what you know?
This is something that we have to talk about, and it makes people very uncomfortable. As a high school coach, I had a lot of big time prospects, and I would always get asked or requested to send our best players to HBCU programs, to give your SWAC and your MEAC schools and the CIAA an opportunity to recruit the best players in the country. But if you want to do that, we can't have issues like this. We can't have 20 guys ineligible. And I've been in situations over the years where guys get to campus and they find out that they're ineligible, even though they're full qualifiers. Something has not went right in compliance. HBCUs are grossly understaffed. You're talking about, most of the time, one compliance director for an entire athletic department. There is no way that you should have 20 plus ineligible players. And this gets brought to light because the amount of players it was, and because Isaiah Land is a big time prospect, but this happens all the time. I've had other guys go to HBCUs coming out of JUCO, full qualifiers coming out of JUCO. They get to campus and the compliance director is telling them that they can't play once they arrive on campus. It messes with their scholarships, it messes with their life, and this is really unacceptable. And you need answers from the president, you need answers from the athletic director. FAMU does not currently have an athletic director in place, which adds to the issue. But if you want the best players in the country to consider going to HBCUs, then you have got to clean this up. This is unacceptable. When you have guys that have passed classes, when people look at this, they think that all of these kids failed classes. But several of these kids took classes, passed them, they weren't the right classes, or they're not where they're supposed to be in terms of percentage towards graduation, and they're sitting them and they're ineligible, and it's no excuse for it, and we can't stand for it and allow it to happen. And if you're a recruit right now, you have to consider this when you're looking at schools and evaluating where you want to go. And they have to take this into consideration, and there has to be definite accountability from the people in charge here.
Yeah, Darien, as a former student athlete, you understand the difficulties of making sure that you're eligible. You can be a full-time student, good to go with the university, but the NCAA has completely different rules, and that's why you have so much support staff helping you out. They're the ones that know the rules. They're the ones that help you with that academic guidance. From your perspective, how crucial is it to have a full staff of people working to help these student athletes? Because there's nearly 400 student athletes at most of these schools.
It's imperative. I think you look at my experience at Clemson, I was really blessed to have, like Carl's, a full staff, one just dedicated strictly to football, because they understand it's a very underestimated job, underrated job, because you kind of like, oh, they just do the academic stuff. But when you have situations like this, you see the magnitude of this job not going well. And at Clemson and at bigger schools, you have so much resource to really make sure kids are taking the right classes, you're on track, you're getting weekly updates, you're getting who's not going to class, who's taking the right classes. There's so many things set in place to where things like this don't happen. And so when you see incidents like this, you really can't blame the kids. It really is from like an administrative standpoint. How do you help these kids, give them an environment where they can thrive and grow, and to where when it comes time, the most important time, obviously school is important, but those guys can't even play football. And now right before a big season, they've worked all off season, and now they can't play because something that they thought they were doing right was actually wrong. It's sad to see.
And you referenced this. The players actually, they voiced their concerns to the school about playing the game so shorthanded ahead of time, and how the school itself had handled this situation. But FAMU president, Dr. Larry Robinson, said this, quote, "The issues raised by these young men will get our full time and attention and will be prioritized. by our recently established athletic support committee. Now, Carl, if you're Coach Simmons here talking to his team, or talking to the administration, what are you asking? What do you need to have in order to make sure that this never happens again?
Well, first off, I don't need a committee to get together and convene on the ridiculousness of what's going on. The first thing I need, if I'm Willie Simmons, I say I need a compliance director strictly for football. I need somebody that deals only with football because that's the largest sport with the most numbers. And I need my compliance director to not take the summers off and show up a week or two before school or preseason starts to try to get all of these guys passed through the system and get them eligible. I need for complete transparency on where the finances are going for the money that we're getting for me taking my team to play Power 5 teams like North Carolina for $500,000 and getting our heads beat in for the university. I need to know where that money is going because a certain percentage of those dollars should be going to properly staffing the compliance department for football. You shouldn't have to take an undermanned team up there and lose to North Carolina, ACC school, and not even have any idea of where any of that money is going. That department should be staffed from a compliance, from an academic support staff. We are consistently, and they're not the only ones, we're consistently taking these HBCU programs to take beatings on the national level to powerhouse schools. I need answers to those questions. And if I can't get them, then I have to take my show somewhere else.
Darien, I want to ask you about playing HBCU schools from a Power 5 perspective. I know you guys have differing opinions on this. What is the advantage for a student athlete at an HBCU to go and play a school like where you played at Clemson?
Right. If you look at their season, and a lot of these guys still have professional aspirations, this is their Super Bowl, their national championship, whatever they get to play a Power 5 team. And you look at a lot of guys that I played against in my time at Clemson, or just different guys I've seen the past couple of years. A lot of times when these guys are drafted, because you look at the draft and look at the NFL, they're trying to do a better job. A lot of HBCU kids do not get the exposure that they would like. That's why you see guys like Deion Sanders, Eddie George, different people trying to come to these HBCUs and bring exposure, bring excitement, bring some swagger to these schools, so they don't have it.